But you guys understand how big this ASU game is for BYU? Like, do you understand how big this loss to Kansas was? Because I truly think Kalani Sitake gets
The
it.
guys are hurting right now. They're supposed to, but we got to get over it. Just like we have to get over the wins, we got to find ways to be humble and not get down on ourselves too much. We've earned the right to feel better now, and we just got to play better next week. We just won't get this one back, so we just got to find a way to play better next week, and whatever it takes, we got to get it done.
I agree. And he'll never say it. Aaron Roderick, you've got to ask really tough questions of Aaron Roderick in this game. I think BYU's offense absolutely crippled them. It's inexplicable to me that we are in November. What was that? The 16th of November, and you have a guy running down on special teams getting hit in the helmet with a punt. It's a pooch punt. Totally get it. Totally understand it. Are you not prepared for that situation? All you have to do is get out of the way and you win that game. And then don't throw an interception. And then
yeah.
Oh my good gracious.
I mean, if you think about it, they legit handed Kansas probably 3-4 extra opportunities to go down the field and score. I mean, obviously the pooch punt was the most egregious, but even the interception at the end of the first half, like, you're going down the field. Like, what nobody is saying is you were driving right down the field. No problem.
Just curious, how impactful would a field goal have been there?
Like,
huge.
But you get nothing. And again, and I agree with you, it's a terrible throw. But I don't even care about the throw because the play call is just so incorrect.
The play call, that entire drive, like, it is what it is. But I want to play you this one more clip. Then we'll go back to the comment section. Here's BYU wide receiver Chase Roberts. Listen to what he said here.
I just think that we're not executing. I think that we have a great game plan. We knew what Kansas was going to do, and they did what we thought they were going to do. We just need to execute our plays and block and be physical and make the right reads, and we weren't able to do that tonight. We weren't able to score in the red zone. You saw big bursts of our offense was rolling, especially at the end of the second half. We had some drives that were awesome, and if we can just put those together, we're going to win by a lot of points.
They were not surprised by anything that Kansas showed them. Everybody said that, and you could see it. There was no play where they were out of position or just like, it's not rocket science. You know that Scatabo is going to run into your face mask this weekend. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? That's the huge, huge damaging loss for BYU.
That's why it's frustrating.
Like, shocking.
It's frustrating. It's not frustrating that you lost per se. It's frustrating that you lost because you didn't execute. Because again, and it's not just like a lot of BYU fans, and this drives me nuts about BYU fan, respectfully. Like, it drives me nuts that you guys want to say, oh, well, one bad bounce here with the pooch punt or that. Like, no, that's not what it was. It was you guys didn't play well. You like, from play caller to Jake to the wide receivers dropping passes. Like, I agree with what you said earlier in the show. How long this year have we been talking about, this wide receiver room just dropping balls that hit them right in the hands? Like, easy, right here, you just dropped it. And that came back to get you.
And again, not to be redundant, this is why Mercer in Alabama. Tell me now that if you could be BYU and you could play Southern Utah this coming week, or Mercer, or it's smart tactically scheduling a cupcake game. And I hate it. I think it should be banned. I think you should have to play. I think once the calendar turns October, it should be conference games only.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we need a Super League, because you got to eliminate the Mercer game. But I would do it if I were trying to get into a college football playoff and win a national championship. Goddamn right, November against Mercer, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what's anybody going to do about it? I mean, what are you going to, like? You're not going to say anything to those guys.
Now, if you're Clemson, you probably wish you didn't have the Citadel this week, because they need another quality win. Wouldn't you love to have Miami on your schedule this week?
I feel like the formula for the Big Ten and the SEC is very laid out. The yellow brick road is well walked. Like, win a bunch of games early, Once you get to November, have an off week by playing Mercer. And then if you're a 1-loss team, you're in. That's it. And
Yeah.
this year, if you're a 2-loss team, you're in.
Yep. Yeah. Is what it is. Let's see. Jeremy Bolton. I'm with Boyd. Brutal night, but still feeling great about this team. I think that if you feel great about BYU, I just am questioning, what is it you feel great about? Because the offensive game plan has been questionable every single week. And not even the game plan, the play calling.
Yes.
The situational play calling by Aaron Roderick has been questionable all season long. Run the flipping football. How difficult is that? When you have LJ Martin, who I've told you from the jump, that's the most important guy on this offense. And look what he's putting out this year. Yet you won't give him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You have Ropati running dudes over, and you won't give him the ball. They were gashing Kansas, and we got to get cute with the play calling. And we still have receivers dropping the football at BYU. Like Retzlaff putting it on you, drop. And I understand that drops happen. Not BYU has a catching the football problem at times. It's shocking.
Yeah.
And it's not one guy. It's not just Darius. It's not just Chase Roberts. It's across the board. Where, and again, I don't know, is it paying attention to details? I don't know. Is this team making huge mistakes? Yes, they are. And this week they didn't get away with it.
Yeah, the pooch punt special teams thing is a huge mistake. You should be completely prepared for that. You should understand the situation.
Your defense got off the field. They pooch punted, and it hit your guy in the head. That's what worries me.
Yeah.
The little fine, minute details that will keep BYU out, because a one-loss BYU team now has only one road to the college football playoff, and that's winning the conference championship.
And I just don't understand where Aaron Roderick goes mentally when he's play calling. I don't understand. Like I completely agree with your take about you were gashing Kansas. You were running the football effectively. Like why not control the game through the run game? Why not, settle the game down a little bit, control it, burn clock, suffocate Kansas? And I'm not saying you got to run it 40 times, but let's run it 25 times. Let's run it 30 times even. And if you want to get cute with RPO, great, cool.
But how many, you dropped 3 interceptions.
Yeah. Again.
Do you guys see what I mean about, and I don't mean to obsess over BYU, but
I think it's a great talk.
It's not, they didn't beat Utah because of that penalty call. They beat Utah because Utah didn't make plays.
But what was the difference between Utah and Kansas? They knew they had to have their best against Utah.
They were tuned up. There's no question about that. But you drop multiple interceptions. You drop multiple passes. I mean, it's probably, if we're being honest, I bet you I could get to 6-7 incidents in that game if we take into account the pooch punt, the interception in the end zone, bad play calling, drop passes, dropped interceptions. Because largely, especially now that Jay Hill's at the wheel on defense, BYU's in the right place at the right time.
Right.
It's simply, and this is why Isaiah Glasgow is still the best linebacker in the league. But he dropped an interception in a critical moment. Those little things, man. Those little things. The eye patch. Kansas 2-4 heading to Provo. Hilarious. What does that got to do with anything?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Kansas is who BYU thought they were, and they let them off the hook. Yes, Coach Green, they did. Kansas is a really solid football team who, Jalen Daniels is one of the most disappointing quarterbacks in this league. He just puts the ball in places you can't put the ball. And you saw that long completion in the fourth quarter for that first down. How is that ball caught? Oh, because it went through the hands of the DB. It went through Allen's hands, and it wasn't an interception. That's how. Right? So is Kansas a world beater? No. But what were we talking about with Kansas in July and August? That's going to be a team that's going to play for the conference championship. Hugely disappointing team. Can they win games? They can. Will Kansas lose again this year? I'm not certain that they will.
Yeah, I think Kansas is a team that doesn't surprise you with anything they do, but they'll make you pay. if you make mistakes, and that's what we saw.
The stadium guy, James, KU turned things around after a bad start because Lance Leipold is a good coach. Yeah, sure.
I guess. I also think you got how many opportunities?
You got a lot of help against BYU.
Yeah.
That it's as simple as that. Mayor Hilarious.
See what he did there. So that's like an eye patch thing. Hilarious.
It wasn't one bad bounce Saturday night. It was 10 plus opportunities where they just didn't execute. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And that's part of why I don't agree with the take of you should feel good about this team. Are you 9-1? Yeah, but is it a now a 9-1 where you're like, well, did we get a lot of bounces? Did we get a lot of help, or was that us who was 9-1?
You need to go to Arizona State and kick their ass. You need to go in, be the offense we know that this team can be. Jake Retzlaff needs to throw that ball to the pylon. Aaron Roderick needs to call more runs because you're just not in. Case in point on BYU for all the idiot eye patches of the world. Do you guys understand that Arizona State had one possession in the third quarter? I wonder what, or excuse me, Kansas had one possession in the third quarter. Do you know why that is? Because BYU's first drive of the third quarter was long, dominating, a grinding drive. Like BYU didn't play terrible. They didn't execute when they needed to. That's the difference between winning and losing. You have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You have one of the best running backs in the league. You have the best wide receivers in the league, and you won't run the football. You just want to throw it all over the place. And yeah, anyway. Okay. The logic kind of makes Notre Dame look pretty good. Well, so again, I ask.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's not one of the 15 best teams in the country. At least they haven't proven that. And I think most people here know I'm a passionate Notre Dame fan. I think they're going to absolutely dominate Army. And I'm telling you that Riley Leonard is a very average quarterback who could not start on most teams that he'd be on outside of Notre Dame. He's only at Notre Dame because he had one game for Duke at Notre Dame. And Notre Dame's like, wow, look what he did here. We should have him on our team.
Incredible.
Right? Like that to me that doesn't make you a good quarterback. And I think Notre Dame, let's be realistic. Is Notre Dame one of the 12 best teams in the country? They are not. They don't deserve to be in. They've played nobody. And I mean nobody. They, in my opinion, they don't have a quality win.
But just the same way with Miami, everyone wants Notre Dame in. Notre Dame's a brand. Notre Dame's good for TV.
I would agree with that.
And so, whether and I really do think we need to start taking this into consideration. I mean, I don't disagree with your assessment of Notre Dame at all. Like, you don't really have a way to say you're one of the 12 best teams in the country. But the reality is you haven't lost in a long time now. Like your loss is a bad loss, but it's been a long time. And a lot of people look at that and they're like, oh, well, hey, you had a bad loss, but you're playing better football and we want you in. And so whether you're a team that is, trying to chase your way in and you need a conference championship, or you're a Notre Dame spot, if people like you and they want you in, the reality is that helps your chances because it's people eating pizza, sitting around a table, talking about teams in your resume. Like that's what we have. So that's why I think Notre Dame is going to get in, whether or not their schedule says they're one of the 12 best teams or not.
And they're playing the Black Knights at Yankee Stadium this weekend. If this game's even close, it will prove my point because Army, their best win, yeah, they don't have one. Here's Army. That juggernaut, Army. Lehigh, Florida Atlantic, Rice, Temple, Tulsa, UAB, East Carolina, Air Force, and North Texas. They have not played anybody. I wonder if that's why Notre Dame's a 17-point favorite in a neutral site, not close to South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame's a 17-point favorite. So if Notre Dame goes in there and wins by 4 scores, is that a good win for Notre Dame? And again, maybe I'm just being a red-ass Irish fan. Are you guys really telling me that quality win over now Louisville? Does Louisville look like a quality win now? It does not. Does Texas A&M look like a quality win now? It does not.
But I do think, and I agree with
Does
that.
Navy look like a quality win now?
But the A&M win, I'm telling you, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but people look at that win and they say, well, A&M at the time, like that's what people do. They say, okay, at the time, was A&M a good win? Well, yeah, I guess at the time, but then that was canceled out by the NIU loss. Like, that's the hard part.
Admittedly, A&M lost to South Carolina, whose 3 losses are Alabama, Ole Miss, and LSU. So I can get down with that. I totally understand it. But the problem with that theory is you lost 44-20 to South Carolina.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, who are we kidding? And I don't know what in the world Missouri was doing against South Carolina, because that was a terrible loss. Horrendous. Chris E., hello. Colorado didn't make mistakes like BYU. Colorado have a potent offense with a quality quarterback that puts up points. Kansas ain't beating Colorado. CU's defense is also legit. Colorado's defense is arguably the 3rd best defense in the conference, bar nobody else. Utah's by far the best defense in the conference. I think BYU's in the conversation. Arizona State is not, and I saw that all up in the comment section. They're not. I think Colorado's defense can make an argument that they're top 2 or 3 defenses in this conference.
Yeah, and they make plays.
How is that possible?
Yeah, I think it's possible because, and we've been saying this since last year, that Prime's got a hell of a coaching staff. And I think you're starting to see the fruits of that labor. You're starting to see that kids are starting to develop. They're starting to make plays. They're starting to be in the right spot. Best example defensively for Colorado is Shiloh Sanders. Shiloh Sanders was undisciplined. You look no further than, what was it? I think North Dakota, or was it Colorado State maybe, early in the season when, you're taking penalties and, playing Bush League football as a safety. And now he's gone away from that and he's improved his game and he's playing good football. And I think that's where I say, like, people did not have faith in Deion Sanders. People did not believe that Deion Sanders would develop his team and would use the portal at a high level, at a high rate, would improve his roster. And now here we are. And they've just gone out and done the absolute best job that they can do. And yes, they're a 2-loss team, but they're still right in the mix to go to the college football playoff. And I think that if Colorado goes to the college football playoff, like, Deion's going to have, that phone's going to be ringing, endlessly for a week, dude. Like, people are going to call him and are going to say, hey, like, you've proven yourself. We believe in you. This is where, would you come and coach our team? I'm telling you, he's going to get a ton of offers. It's going to happen. And
if they go to the Big 12 championship game, which I think is very likely now, because I don't see Colorado losing. And I think the thing that Prime does really well is he sells you on the fact that nobody believes in us. Nobody respects us. Like, nobody, we suck. They think we suck. We don't belong here.
Yeah.
Like, they say your mom's ugly, like all that. And if you look at Colorado, and I understand that game is at Arrowhead, the environment's not going to be too big. The weather doesn't matter. And Colorado's more explosive than you, because Shedeur Sanders is playing unbelievable football right now. Travis Hunter's the Heisman Trophy winner. Just give it to him now.
Yep.
And if he keeps putting up touchdown interceptions a game, forget it. Because I don't know if you are Kansas, you can't play the way you played against BYU. And I think that is as well as I've seen Kansas play this year. If you play that way against Colorado, you'll lose by 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pat Shurmur's calling an unbelievable offense right now. They're running the ball really well. They're throwing the ball underneath when they need to. And, man, when they take their shots, they don't miss. And Kansas, I think what we learned is Kansas like a tackling fundamental? They're not. They don't exactly tackle real well. So I think Colorado's going to the Big 12 championship. Right now today, I'd take BYU and Colorado, and I think Colorado wins that game by 17 to 21 points.
If Prime wins the Big 12, is he coach of the year?
Has to be.
Right? Like, who else?
How could he not be? That I don't know. Eric and Raleigh. Deanna is going to need a loaner phone to get around all the calls he's going to get.
Do you believe?
A loaner phone.
See what he did there? That's like loaner phone and loaner phone.
Yeah. Whoa. Damian Fowler comment up there. Sorry. I don't think Texas is superior. I think A&M has a shot, especially in College Station. I think Texas has that defense is fast at Texas. And I think that Steve Sarkisian is doing a masterful job of playing via the musical chairs, if you will, at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Arch is ready. Quinn Ewers, even if he just farts a nasty scent, he's done.
Right.
I don't think Sark would hesitate. I think Texas is ready. I believe in that Texas defense. I really do.
And I think a lot of people stopped believing after the Georgia game. And I just think that's a mistake, man. Like, Georgia's a really, really good football team. Like you're going to lose some of those games. And I understand that you didn't lose in a great fashion either, which I'm a huge believer in. That matters. But the reality is, like, they're deeper than you. They're faster than you. They're all moving in the same direction. Like, they're fine, man. I would not. I mean, I know that that's your opinion, that you believe A&M's better than Texas, but I can't get down with that. You're going to have to show that you're able to beat, that you're able to beat a team the quality of Texas.
And it's you know what the interesting point is? How many big wins are left on people's schedules? There's not, especially in the Big 12.
Is USC a good win?
I don't know how many people saw it, but USC actually won a game this weekend. How about that? USC actually won a game this weekend.
Incredible.
Where are we on Fire Lincoln Riley?
Man, I think I still think it's really 50-50. I can kind of get down with both sides of it. For me, like, if he ends the season by beating Notre Dame, I think he probably saves his job. I think because at that point you're wrecking Notre Dame's season, you're ending on a high note, essentially. And I believe if they win out, they become bowl eligible. I think they have to beat Notre Dame to be bowl eligible.
They have to win out.
Yeah. So, you're in a place where if you win out and you end positively, I think he saves his job. But the problem is, and this is a Lincoln thing. I don't care what athletic apparel he's wearing, what brand he's representing. The guy has to somehow, some way, find a way to get his defense to tackle consistently, to show up consistently, because that's the biggest thing. Like, we know this guy is going to have offensive talent, and he'll figure it out that way. But the defense just lets him down time and time again, and that's where I think if you're a USC supporter, or let's say a booster, or someone giving money, you're like, yeah, dude, how long are we going to put up with this? Like,
he's got the 39 strength of schedule, so it's not like he hasn't played anybody.
And to that point, in those games, they've lost most of those games by one possession. Like, they're in the game. They're not getting blown out.
Yeah, we'll see.
But again, you still lost.
You lost.
Yeah.
That's all that people care about.
Yeah.
We'll see. They don't. Tanner Plummer, a member of the show for 22 months. Sup, gang. Should A-Rod be usurped of power? No, he should. You're not firing Aaron Roderick. Dave Aranda kept his job. You're going to fire Aaron Roderick? Come on. What are you talking about? It is what it is. Illumindursky, could a fan poll incorporated into the college football playoff work? No.
Nah.
No. D-Rock Irish, beware of the Trojan horse in the Coliseum. Yeah, I think the beloved are going to boat race Army this weekend, and then I think there's a real good chance that USC game is going to have massive impact on a lot of people's lives. That game could be ugly. It's fine. Nebraska, Chrissy says, needs to bench wannabe Mahomes. You're not benching Raiola. And a lot of people have talked about this. Isaac Wilson at Utah. And I'll say this about Isaac Wilson as well. I think the kid can play. I think he doesn't have weapons. I don't think Mekhi Bernard walking around with one arm the other day. You don't have a wide receiver of note. Dorian Singer is who we thought he was. Isaac Wilson actually played good football, and I think he can play. And I look at Mahomie Light. I think he can play. And he is very Patrick Mahomes. It's weird.
But I don't know why we're so uncomfortable to say, hey, maybe these guys aren't getting developed at the rate they need to. Maybe they are doing everything
And
they
they're
can.
true freshmen.
Yeah, like maybe they're doing everything they can, and it's just like they're just not ready yet. And this is why I say the next time you hate on Dion or another coach who you didn't believe in, but they're having a ton of success, like Kalani as an example, like give these guys credit, man. They are developing the players they have and getting better,
How do you get Darius Lassiter to Provo, Utah?
right? Like how?
You know that's Kwame Lassiter's brother. How do you get him to Provo? I don't know either. I really do not. Illumindursky. The elites in the AP would hate it just as much as they did adding computer rankings. Well, maybe you have somebody other than MLS writers voting in the AP poll.
Yeah.
Maybe you have, I don't know, credentials. That'd be great. Eric and Raleigh. The CFP is already a fan poll, like it exists to create games for television. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those MLS writers and folks who don't watch football every week are fans. Like essentially, I mean, yeah, they're air quotes media, but when it comes down to it, they are fans. They're going to vote towards their bias inherently, and that's the problem with the AP. It is the standard. It is the foundation of everything we do in the college football playoff. But that doesn't mean that it's always accurate. That's the thing.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep rolling in the comment section because I also think there's some folks in here like UW fan Jim. Baylor can still win out and get 8 wins. Who cares?
Yeah. Why do we care about that?
You just won't let go of that. Like I'm trying to understand like the Baylor thing. Anybody that's happy that Baylor kept Dave Aranda, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. You're I don't understand why Baylor, like if you're not asking real questions about Sonny Dykes after the season, Joey McGuire, we've talked about the mullet. Like there are coaches in this league where this is not new. Like Kyle Whittingham at Utah. It's shocking what's happened to their season. You're not going to fire Kyle Whittingham. You're not even going to ask questions of him. He already fired his offensive coordinator. You're not going to ask questions of Kyle Whittingham. Should you ask questions about, Mike Gundy in Stillwater? Yes. Are you an average-ass football team at Baylor? Yes. Yes, you are. Why is Dana Holgerson not at Houston? Because they're not interested in running the table to win 8 games. To me, the problem with the Big 12 is they're not all in to win every game. They're not. Because if you were, you wouldn't. Who are you, Iowa with Kirk Ferentz? Like do you want to win or not? And my point is, I don't think Baylor's all in on football. I think Baylor likes winning football games. Oh, Dave's a nice guy. He's a nice guy, and we're going to put a solar panel on his Chrome Dome, and he's going to save us money on the light bill at the stadium.
Program.
Like, what are we doing with this guy? But yet,
But again, look at Oakley Light's a perfect example. How long has Gundy been mediocre there? And everyone refers to him as a god. Oh, well, Monty, he's had 8-win season after 8-win season, 9-win season. Then occasionally he'll pop off for a bowl, a New Year's Six bowl, and then that'll be it. He's great.
SC wants to fire Lincoln Riley. Have you seen how many miles that team's flown this year? SC, they have the money to fire Lincoln Riley. It's 1 year in the Big Ten, and they want to fire Lincoln Riley already. Caleb Williams won a Heisman Trophy 2 years ago, and they want to fire this guy already.
Yeah, because expectations are higher.
Yeah, give Dave Aranda a lifetime contract at Baylor. Like what? Like that's what I don't understand. And I hate mediocrity. I hate it. It's what I hate about Notre Dame. That's a mediocre football team. It's what I hate. My Chicago Bears. That's a bad football team. Bad football team. Oh, but Matt Eberflus. No buts. No. It's fine.
Keep telling yourself a
It's
lie
amazing
about how getting extension for Dave Aranda is a good thing. Like,
You're either going in the right direction or you're going in the wrong direction. Because if you're standing still, you're not going in the right direction.
and the fact that you think 8 wins is the right direction is a
That's crazy
problem,
to me.
bro. That's a
Crazy
problem
to me. Like, you look at Brian Kelly at LSU. How pissed is LSU with Brian Kelly losing games?
Yeah, I mean, now, like,
Huge.
I guarantee you, and maybe it's premature. Say what you want. At LSU, they're talking about Brian Kelly. This season's over. It's disappointing. You're not what you should have been.
It doesn't matter what you do.
Nobody cares, like, what you did. It's not good enough. LSU, the expectations, you're in the college football playoff, and frankly, you're competing for a national championship. That's the expectation. And if you're not going to get it done, they'll find someone who can.
And I think, and I'll probably get whacked for this as well because nobody here tells the truth about their teams. This goes to show you how difficult the Pac-12 was.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, because look at Oregon. Was Oregon ready? Yeah, Oregon was ready. And what's the major difference here? With like Washington, massive changes, roster changes, coach change, all of it.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, you understand why that's a pretty average football team. USC has no excuses. They made major changes on defense, brought in new talent, same result. But, and what I would say about SC is, I at least can sit here and understand why USC has, I mean, look at their road games. Ann Arbor, Michigan, Minnesota, Maryland, and Washington, and then UCLA this weekend. Like they're the team that's like, oh, you guys want to come into the Big Ten? Okay, well, you're going to have to go to Maryland now. Like their home games, they got Rutgers at home, Nebraska at home, and they won. Penn State, that was one of the best games of the year. So, like, I just think it's been a tough transition. Like, look at that schedule and tell me that. Anyway, my point is, I understand why SC's lost. And I understand why people are pissed at Lincoln Riley. I would not fire Lincoln Riley. And if this happens next year, then I'd fire Lincoln Riley.
And the point is at least at SC, you can say, hey, you know what? Like, yeah, your travel's been arduous. It's been a grinder of a season. But Lincoln, hey, that doesn't excuse the fact that you lost at home to Penn State in a game that you clearly should have won. It doesn't excuse, some of these other losses, but also you deserve credit for beating LSU in Vegas and some of the other things that you've done. And so at least there is some positives. But again, I always like to point this out. What the hell is Baylor even playing for? In week
Nothing.
0, if you look at Baylor or anybody else really in the Big 12, I would even put Okie Light in this conversation, frankly. Like, what are you playing for? I don't know either because nobody puts you there.
And why did Ohio State and Michigan say, I'm not playing night games? I'm not taking the late window game at SC. Because they know when you travel across time zones and you're kicking off at 10:15 Eastern time and your kids are half asleep, you're going to lose those games.
Yes.
So that's why you don't see and you don't like, I would also ask, what time did they kick off at Oregon? Kicked off at 8:00 Eastern, right? They're not kicking off for the late game. I'm just telling you, these leagues are slanted that way, but at least I give USC, the reason I give USC credit, because I want to win and I want to beat the best teams on my path to victory. I've always believed in that in football. I want to see the best of the best every single week. That's why SC joined the Big Ten. SC wants to win national championships, and the money doesn't hurt, right? The money doesn't hurt.
SC is the reason we are where we are.
Yeah, pretty much. So is this a little bit of karma? Sure it is. You fire Lincoln Riley and you are going down a very wrong road.
Yeah, I would agree that Lincoln's one of those guys. If you're going to fire him, you damn well better have a replacement that is as good, if not better, both reputationally and from a resume standpoint. Like, you can't fire Lincoln Riley and go and hire someone's sister's brother or whoever who's never coached a college football game. Like, you got to have someone that's, and that changes every year. The candidate pool changes every year. This coming off season is probably not a good off season to be firing your head coach because, there's not going to be you're probably not firing Brian Kelly. You're like there's not some laundry list of A1 top cut head coaches available. But you need to see what happens for Ohio State in the college football playoff. Like, You need to monitor the Ryan Day situation. You need to monitor all these different situations to go and get a guy who's better, which is why I would agree. I don't think he's getting fired this season, but they're going to talk about it.
Yeah. And I give Dan Lanning a lot of credit. I mean, what Dan Lanning's done at Oregon is nothing short of remarkable. And when did he win? When did he win all these games? Anybody? Transfer portal? That's when he won all these games. He didn't win all these games in, November, October, September, August. No, he won these games in December and February and March. He won these games after spring ball when Dylan Gabriel showed up at Autzen.
But all those Big 12 coaches that everyone's defending in the comment section, they use the portal too, right?
Apparently
no,
not.
they don't. That's right.
But Deion's a jackwagon.
Yeah, Deion's the guy that's the buffoon of the Big 12. Come on, dude.
There is no doubt that
Lincoln
Riley is the cream of the crop as far as the Big Ten goes right now. That program, he won the transfer portal. And you look at Dylan Gabriel in the season that he's had, he's probably going to come second in the Heisman Trophy voting. And deservedly so. Like, they've had a really good year. What Dan Lanning's built at Oregon is superior to what Lincoln Riley's built at USC. That's not even a conversation.
Yeah, Dan Lanning's the best coach in the Big Ten.
I think now that's very true.
And notice I didn't say the best new coach. Dan Lanning is the best coach in the Big Ten right now, and that would include Ryan Day.
And he beat Ohio State, who had to travel to Autzen.
And I think he'd beat Penn State.
Yes, I would agree.
I don't have any doubt about that.
I would agree with that. And you want to play those games anyway. I could go on. G Joyner, take your Miralux because both of you are full of shit this morning.
Oh,
Baylor might win 2 more, but there has to be a starting point, which is firing Dave Aranda, by the way. And I think these games have recruiting and transfer implications. So let me get this right. You think that Baylor might win 2 more, but you think keeping Dave Aranda is how you win recruits, and I'm full of shit?
Come on, dude.
I need Miralax because you think Dave Aranda is the guy I don't want Dave Aranda sitting in my living room as anything more than a defensive coordinator who I'd have him on any football team I coached as my defensive coordinator. You're out of your mind if you think that keeping Dave Aranda was a recruiting win. You are out of your mind.
Yeah, you're going to have to explain how that works, dude.
That's
I don't know.
wild.
I don't know. Like, this is soccer writer material right here. I don't know how you look at Baylor and you look at the talent you don't have that's gone other places in the Big 12.
That's wild.
And say that Dave is a recruiting win and that you might win 2 more games. You want to know what the reality is, dude? Nobody gives a damn if you win 2 more games because we're too busy talking about Colorado and BYU winning games that they had no business winning. That's the problem. Like, you should be upset that in a time when the Big 12 has been flipped on its head and, you've got Utah, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, hell, even TCU and K-State, all underachieving.
Do you understand you lost to the 4 best teams in the Big 12?
Like, you're not even close right now, dude. And you want to say that we're full of it? Come on now.
You lost at Utah, which doesn't look like a very good loss right now, even though you ended Cam's career. You lost at Colorado. You lost at home against BYU. You lost at Iowa State. And your wins are Air Force and Tarleton, Texas Tech, Oak State, TCU, and West Virginia.
So what's the great win?
Come on.
That should have allowed Dave to keep his job.
And you're going to finish at Houston and Kansas. Dude, anybody defending Dave Aranda as like some great coach, I don't know what Baylor team you're watching.
You understand, just so we're on the same page about the recruiting point.
Good Christ.
You understand, you can go find this for yourself. This is all over the internet. Dave in the preseason this year quite literally said that he has tried to implement being a machine with like being in the facility and preparation, and that he leaves all the media and all the personnel stuff, like being nice to people, to his coordinators. He's not interested in talking to people. He's interested in just getting ready for football games. Like, that's the kind of guy you're talking about here, man. And I appreciate the tenacity in getting prepared for a football game. But the fact is that preparedness or that effort to be prepared isn't translating into enough wins for anybody to care.
It's what I say about people that are like, oh, they're going to win 8 games. Okay, great. And that will do what? That'll do what? Like 8 games will, what is 8 wins? Like, you lost to the good teams and you beat the bad teams. Congratulations.
Yeah, nice job, dude.
That's why this conference, and I will just continue to say this, and I know that I don't really care what other people think. This conference will be a mediocre conference until every team in this league does everything they can do to win football games. As simply as I can say it. If you are not desperate to go undefeated every single year, don't show up. Don't go to spring ball. Don't enroll early. All I want to do is win every single game.
We show up.
And you're just happy with, oh, Baylor's going to win out and win 8 games. Oh, congratulations. Enjoy that shitty ass bowl game you're going to. Cool, bro.
The Miralux Bowl.
Like, when did it become okay to be a really mid-level average ass football team? Who's paying for that? Everybody at Oak State, everybody at Texas Tech, everybody at Baylor.
Yeah, who's paying for it? Baylor's paying for it.
Like,
you just extended this guy.
Sometimes this is what I don't understand. Do we not care about wins and losses? If there's a BYU fan who is not really pissed at Aaron Roderick right now, I don't know why you're a fan of football games. I understand Mom and your Aunt Shirley hanging out being like, oh, BYU, shucks, boys, nice try, though. Okay, cool. They're going to go back, and they're going to get their chai tea lattes with 2 shots of caramel, not caramel.
Right.
Their caramel in the drive-thru this morning. Congratulations, right? And they're going to bitch about their coffee. I'm sitting here bitching because the Chicago Bears couldn't kick a field goal again for the 3rd time this year. And we still haven't fired our head coach. I'm upset because Marcus Freeman can't count to 10 last year against Ohio State. They lost to Kyle McCord in Ohio State. They didn't lose to Will Howard in Ohio State. They lost to Kyle McCord in Ohio State.
That's a great point, dude.
And, that. They lost to Kyle McCord in Ohio State.
No Monty's.
I love that people like the. Where is Utah fan this morning? Utah fans' only joy is that BYU lost on Saturday night. Sometimes I just okay. Starter 179 for $5. I believe this is the first time you've ever commented.
Hopefully it's good.
That's where we are at Tech. We win 8 games every year, but we can't break through. We put $700 million into a facility with a big NIL budget and are stuck.
Yeah,
because you hire and again, and I hope that at some point I'll get credit for this because I say it every time we fire a coach somewhere. It's not that you fired somebody; it's who you hired to replace the guy you fired. If you fire Joey McGuire, and you're not going to, let's say you fire Joey McGuire, who are you going to get to replace him? Who are you going to get?
Who wants that job?
If you fire Matt Eberflus and the Chicago Bears, you better be able to get one of 2 guys, Ben Johnson in Detroit or Bobby Slowick in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't, don't fire him. Because it's all well and good. And I think this is part of the problem at Baylor. Is Baylor football an attractive job? No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. When is the last time Baylor's truly been relevant week in and week out? Never under Dave Aranda. Competitive, yes, but we're not trying to be competitive. But apparently 8 wins with their schedule is lifetime contract. Again, Indiana. I understand why Indiana extended Kurt Cignetti for like a half-life because you've never been relevant in football. Now you are. I don't think any of us believe that they're one of the 12 best teams in the country. I certainly do not. But when is the last time they were top 5 in anything? I don't remember. It may have never happened. May have never happened. Mayor Hilarious, a member for 22 months. Yeah, as a BYU, of course I'm pissed. They played awful against Kansas, but maybe this will light a fire under the belly and they'll come out and smoke ASU. It better. We're going to find out who Kalani Sitake is as a motivator this week. I would expect, and this is a really good example, as usual, by the mayor. I would expect the detail in preparation this week to show up on the practice field and then show up in Tempe. I would expect guys not to be dropping passes. I would expect Jake Retzlaff to be a significantly better quarterback than he was against Kansas. I'd expect that because you beat Kansas. Again, if you're just tuning in, talking about BYU and Kansas, every statistic paints a picture of a BYU win. They don't keep stats on play calling. They don't keep stats on really terrible throws. They don't keep stats on really poorly timed drop passes. How many routes are we going to run? And we talked about this last week.
Yes.
How many routes are we going to run that's a yard and a half short of the first down marker on fourth down?
Yeah.
Not paying attention to details. And I believe that was Chase Roberts.
It was.
Yard and a half short. How is that even possible?
Yeah. And I think that, it's what I say about, again, this is going to piss BYU fan off, but right now you look like a mediocre team. You're 9-1 and you look like you don't pay attention to detail and you look like you don't know how to execute. That's what you look like nationally.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is that you're going to go and play a team in ASU that is just as tough, if not tougher than you, and wants to beat you up running the football. And so when you talk about attention to detail and preparing for this game, the thing I think about is gap integrity and making the tackle 2 yards in and not letting Cam Scatabo get to 5-6 yards on you. That's what I think about. I don't want to see this ASU team turn around and hand it off 35 times on Saturday and you give them 5 yards a carry. That doesn't work if you want to go to the Big 12 championship game and have any chance.
I think Baylor's the perfect example of these conversations. Like, it is shocking to me that they extended Dave Aranda. I don't.
The difference is at schools like Baylor, with all due respect, philosophically, you don't care about winning a national championship.
Not in football.
Not only do you not care in football, agreed. In basketball, it's a different story. But in football, you don't care enough to say, hey, it's not good enough, Dave. You don't care enough to say, yeah, Sawyer Robertson is just nice kid, solid little
good quarterback,
but not good enough to like go out and win us some ball games when we're really struggling. Not good enough to get us over the hump. Not probably what
and especially when your president is the one trying to get everybody at the table to talk about forming a super league.
Yeah, sending a panic button letter to all the conference commissioners and leadership. Come on, dude. Yeah. Baylor screams of an institution and a fan base that wants so badly to say that they're having a good season, and that's just not the case, bro. It's just not.
It's not. UW fan Jim, relax, Monty. I wasn't even defending Aranda, but you're rooting for Baylor to win 8 games, and you think that's significant. That's the low bar. Do you guys like BYU? BYU winning 8 games with all of the challenges that they face even before they recruit a kid is incredible. Being 9-1 is incredible. It's unbelievable, unthinkable. But why isn't Kalani going to be the coach of the year? Because Deion Sanders has real expectations. So you put Deion Sanders at Baylor. Do you think he's trying to win 8 games and that would be an incredible season?
Nope.
Deion Sanders has one goal: win every game and go to the college football playoff. That's one goal.
And the difference is, and this is what all the Baylor Miralax guys don't want to talk about, is nobody wants to play for Dave Aranda, dude. Nobody wants to play for half of these coaches. Why do you think Dion has had so much success so far? Like, it's taken him less than 2 seasons to be in contention to win the Big 12.
It's SMU agreeing to take no money from the ACC.
Yeah, which from SMU's side, again,
Hey, great.
all due respect to SMU, that looks like a pretty good move. Like, that's, like, I criticized him, but hey, you're now in contention to win the ACC. You're now looking at making money through the college football playoff. Like, that's worked out for you. But for the ACC, that's a terrible move.
It's a terrible move.
You look like a clown conference, bro. You look
Terrible.
Awful.
Yeah, like that is, yeah. Yeah. Jeff Seal. Baylor was so bad for all those years in the Big 12. 8 wins is gold. I guess so. I just am, I don't know. Maybe it's just red ass Monday. Maybe instead of I told you so Monday, it's red ass Monday.
What it is it's frustrated that the Big 12 doesn't have a high enough bar of success Monday. Every single Monday, we sit here and we talk about, hey, well, half this conference, 3/4 of this conference right now this year, nobody cares about, nobody's watching, and they're not relevant in the conversation. And I love Kyle Whittingham. You're not relevant. I'm not watching the Utah game for Utah. I watched it for Colorado to see how they'd handle that defense so we could project forward into the college football playoff.
But I'll say the same thing. Apply the Aranda theory to Kyle Whittingham. Kyle Whittingham was going to be disappointed if they didn't win a conference championship and go to the college football playoff this year. The bar was not, oh, wow, they won 8 games. Wow.
Man.
Somebody get Mr. Clean a contract extension.
In addition to that Ram truck.
That's crazy to me. I think it's Dave Aranda is a really good defensive coordinator. I would have him on any college football team as a defensive coordinator. That guy can't be your head coach, and then you make the argument that you're doing everything you can do to win a national championship.